Hello everybody, it's Nick here with Nick Tolman Music, and today we're going to go ahead and continue our beginner guitar lesson series using the HAL LEONARD guitar method, Book 1. Let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at page 35 here in the HAL LEONARD guitar method, Book 1. Before we do, I will toss out my reminder to head on over and check out my Patreon page if you haven't already. Becoming a patron of Nick Tolman Music is a wonderful way to say thank you for the content that you're receiving here on YouTube. You can become a patron for as little as $3 a month. Definitely cheaper than paying a guitar teacher. So it's a great way to say thank you to help keep you accountable as you are trying to meet your goals learning guitar. There's also great resources and things there available to help you out along the way. So definitely go check it out and consider becoming a patron today. On page 35, we are going to talk about what it calls chord pairs. It's actually not really a term. It's just what they're calling a concept, which I usually refer to with my students as like common fingers. Now what this means is that whenever you're moving from one chord to another chord, you'll find that oftentimes there are fingers that maybe don't have to move, right? So again, I refer to this as common fingers or sometimes anchor fingers, like a finger is acting as an anchor for a particular move. So it gives the example of G to E minor. So if you look at those two moves really quick, there's one finger that does not have to move when you make that change. What is it? It's the second finger, right? So we should keep that in mind. And when we make the change, focus on keeping the second finger in place. The worst thing to do when you change chords is to do this thing where you reset and switch every time. That's going to slow you down, it's going to make you inefficient, and it's only going to cause problems in the long run. So the less you have to move, the better. Okay? And it also gives the example of C and D7, right? And there the anchor finger is the first finger. When you move from C to D7, the first finger does not have to move. This can also be really helpful for just making the chord changes easier because oh, part of the changes already happened. There's a common finger there. Now, even when you're moving from chords that don't have any common fingers, so something like G to C, you can still keep this concept in mind and think about what fingers have to make really simple moves versus not, right? So from C to G, this is a great example because yes, all the fingers are moving, but they're all pretty simple moves. The second and third finger both stay in the exact same shape and they just move up one string, right? That's just a nice, easy little jump, right? From G, with the fourth finger, we know that all that's going to happen to go to C is the fourth finger is going to come off, and that first finger is going to go on to C, right? Really all pretty simple things, but we're just envisioning what has to happen and making those movements as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can. All right, so let's go ahead and try exercise 79, and we're just going to practice this concept. Okay, so as you do these chords, I want you to be thinking about this and making sure that you're using those anchor fingers to make those changes, that you're not doing a full reset in between chords, that you're always focusing on being efficient and moving as little as you possibly can to get the job done. All right, so here is exercise 79 at 72 on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, and... repeat. Now, good. So the move from G to E minor is relatively easy. We have that anchor finger. The move from E minor to C, there's no anchor finger, but for me, I'm kind of focusing on the second finger still because that second finger has a pretty easy job. It just needs to move up one string. And then everything else can kind of just fall into place for the C, right? So again, no anchor finger moving from E minor to C, but still for me, I'm still focusing on that second finger as kind of guiding the way to where everything needs to go. And then moving from C to D7, we have the anchor finger on the first finger, and then back. All right, now I strummed that with quarter notes, but if that is too challenging for you, you can either make the metronome slower, or maybe just try doing dotted half notes, just holding it for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And once that's getting easy, then add the quarter notes, and then maybe even do eighth notes or kind of change up the pattern to just make it more interesting. All right, let's try it at a faster tempo. Here is 120 on the metronome, exercise 79. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, and... All right, so now we're going to take this same concept and we're just going to apply it to these other exercises. So here is exercise 80, which is going to be doing a down, down, up pattern. Similar to what we've done in the last couple lessons. If you haven't seen the last 2 previous lessons, definitely check those out because this is going to fall right in line with those. So we're going to start this at 72, try this chord progression, and then try it a little faster. So here is exercise 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, and ready, play. And I know there's not a last G chord at the end there, but I love to resolve it, so it would resolve on G. Okay? That's the idea. Just practice this progression. Play around with it. Just keep working on it until it's more comfortable for you. And then slowly build that metronome marking up, 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 up until you get to a nice fast tempo. Here is 120 on the metronome. Exercise 80. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready, and... These exercises can be repeated as well. You just loop it over and over and over and over again until that progression becomes nice and comfortable. Here's exercise 81 at 72 on the metronome. 1, 2, and ready, and play. That one could resolve on E minor or on G, so that I know I added that last chord. I played E minor as a final chord, which is fine. It could be E minor or a G, either way. All right, let's go ahead and try that a little bit faster. Here's 120 on the metronome. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready, and... And that's the idea. Right, now in exercise 82 and 83, it's talking about a concept that we've actually already mentioned a couple times previously in lessons. But that is what we call basically a bass note and then a strum, right? So this works really well with the down, down, up, down strumming. So doing something, instead of strumming everything all the time, to do something like this where on the down you just strum down. Right? And you absolutely could do that with this exercise 82. For the sake of the exercise, probably what we'll do is just all quarter notes, which is fine. But the idea is that we're doing bass note, strum, bass note, strum, bass note, strum, bass note, strum. Remember that bass note, for now, we're just using the root of the chord. So if we're playing a G chord, the bass note is just going to be that low G. C chord, the bass note is going to be C. And for a D7 chord, bass note is going to be D. All right, so let's go and try it at 72 on the metronome. Oh, 1, 2, ready and play. Really pretty simple, but it makes things a lot more interesting to mix it up rather than just strum, 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 strum all the time. To do little simple things like this to make your patterns more interesting. So here is 120 on the metronome, exercise 82. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... And let's try the same thing for exercise 83. It's the exact same concept. We're just doing it in 3/4 time rather than 4/4 time. In this case, we're going to have bass, strum, strum, bass, strum, strum, bass, strum, strum. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready and play. Nice, it's a great little progression. Let's go ahead and bump that tempo up. Again, you're slowly working that tempo faster and faster and faster to get a nice fast tempo. Here's 120 on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, and... And that's that. Thank you so much for tuning into our lesson today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, please leave those in the comment section below and I will do my best to help you out with those. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and stay tuned for our next guitar lesson. We'll see you next time. Thanks.